Your legs, the foundation for every step you take, for your freedom and independence. But what if I told you that the very things you might be trusting every day to protect them, particularly those familiar calcium and vitamin D supplements, could actually be the silent culprits making them weaker, making your steps heavier, making falls more likely? It sounds counterintuitive, even absurd, doesn't it? That something meant to help could actually harm. But as a physician, looking at what the medical literature and clinical reality are showing us, I feel compelled to issue this urgent warning. There's a dangerous paradox, a hidden trap lurking within the daily supplement routines of so many older adults, often completely unnoticed. What we believe are guardians for strong bones and healthy joints can sometimes backfire subtly, causing damage you don't see immediately, but which gradually erodes the core strength, the resilience of your muscles, and the stability of your legs. It's not that calcium or vitamin D are inherently bad. It's that we are often using them incorrectly, without realizing it. Right now, we are going to pull back the curtain on this seemingly perfect pair. Why could they become a hidden threat to the very legs we are trying so hard to preserve? Let's begin with calcium. There's this widespread, almost unquestioned belief that supplementing with calcium is the golden ticket to fighting osteoporosis, to keeping our skeleton strong as the years advance. Pharmaceutical companies and advertisements constantly repeat this message, leading many to assume that just taking extra calcium is enough and that it's safe. But what's the obscured truth? Calcium, you see, isn't as clever as we might think. It doesn't automatically know the way to your bones to do its job. It needs a crucial guidance team to show it the path, consisting of vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. Without these guides, calcium is like a lost traveler. Instead of reaching its proper destination, the skeletal system, it starts to deposit haphazardly in places it doesn't belong. And this is precisely where serious problems arise. Calcium can accumulate in the walls of your blood vessels, contributing to plaque formation, stiffening the arteries, and obstructing the flow of nourishing blood to your legs. It can deposit in your joints, leading to inflammation, stiffness, and pain upon movement. Even worse, calcium can infiltrate the muscle fibers themselves, causing persistent cramps, making muscles stiff, reducing their power and flexibility. All of these directly weaken your legs. An alarming study published in the British Medical Journal back in 2010 indicated that supplementing with calcium alone, without accompanying vitamin D, was linked to a higher risk of heart attack. This highlights the danger when calcium goes astray, depositing in blood vessels instead of bones. More recently, work reported in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society revealed that high-dose calcium supplementation in older adults not only failed to significantly reduce fracture risk, but was also associated with instances of muscle weakness and reduced mobility. So, what is the optimal solution? The answer lies in nature itself. Prioritize getting calcium from food. Why? Because calcium from food is absorbed gradually, harmoniously, and often comes naturally packaged with other micronutrients that help the body utilize it effectively. Look towards food sources rich in bioavailable calcium like dark leafy greens, especially low oxalate types like bok choy, kale, broccoli, sesame seeds, chia seeds, almonds, sardines eaten with the bones, and tofu. These sources provide calcium in a form your body readily recognizes and uses correctly, minimizing the risk of harmful accumulation. My sincere advice, please minimize the routine use of calcium supplement pills, unless specifically prescribed by your doctor, and you are absolutely certain you are also getting adequate amounts of the vital co-factors vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. Otherwise, the benefits might not outweigh the risks, and you could be unintentionally weakening your legs day by day. Next, we absolutely must discuss vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. Its role in helping the body absorb calcium is undeniable. Vitamin D is also crucial for healthy immune function, and very importantly, for muscle strength and performance, key factors in maintaining mobility and balance. Being deficient in vitamin D is clearly not good. However, the complexity arises on the other side of the coin imbalance. What happens when the body has plenty of vitamin D, but is severely lacking in its two powerful allies, vitamin K2 and magnesium? This is the crux of the matter. Without sufficient K2 and magnesium, even abundant vitamin D cannot effectively regulate and direct calcium. The result is that calcium isn't optimally driven into bones and teeth, but instead gets pushed into unwanted areas, causing dangerous calcification. Calcification of blood vessel walls hinders circulation to the legs. Calcification in joints causes pain and stiffness, and calcification can even occur within the muscles themselves. What are the direct consequences you might feel in your legs? More frequent cramps, noticeable muscle weakness, a feeling of joint stiffness in the morning or after sitting, and nagging aches and pains during activity. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition emphasized that an imbalance between vitamin D and vitamin K2 can increase the risk of arterial calcification, a condition that directly impacts blood flow and muscle function in the lower limbs. And let's not forget the risk of vitamin D toxicity. While rare from sun exposure or typical diets alone, taking high-dose vitamin D supplements for extended periods, especially doses exceeding 4,000 IU per day, without ensuring balance with K2 and magnesium, can lead to vitamin D excess. This toxicity can disrupt the body's mineral balance, causing symptoms like generalized muscle weakness, extreme fatigue, nausea, and even neuromuscular function problems. So, how can you supplement with vitamin D safely and effectively? The secret lies in balancing the perfect trio: vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. Remember the golden D3 to K2 ratio often recommended by experts. For every 1,000 IU of vitamin D3 you supplement, you should aim for approximately 10 micrograms mg of vitamin K2, preferably the MK7 form, as it has a longer half-life and is more effective at directing calcium. A practical example: if you are taking 5,000 IU of D3 daily, the optimal dose of K2's MK7I would be around 50 mcg. And absolutely do not overlook the vital role of magnesium. Magnesium not only helps transport calcium, but is also mandatory for activating vitamin D within the body. In other words, even if you supplement with enough D3 and K2, a magnesium deficiency means the vitamin D cannot function optimally, and the risk of misplaced calcium remains. We'll discuss magnesium in more detail later, but remember, it's an indispensable link in this chain. To summarize this section, both calcium and vitamin D are essential nutrients, but using them in supplement form requires a deep understanding of dosage, and most critically, balance with their co-factors like K2 and magnesium. Without this balance, these seemingly helpful friends can become potential threats, slowly undermining the very foundation of your stability, your legs. Keep this in mind whenever you consider any supplement. Don't let your efforts to stay healthy inadvertently go astray. Now that we've addressed the complexities surrounding calcium and vitamin D, let's turn our attention to two other common players found in many supplements: vitamins A and E. What sets these apart and introduces a different kind of risk is their fat-soluble nature. Unlike water-soluble vitamins like C or the B vitamins, which your body can generally flush out if you take too much, fat-soluble vitamins don't leave easily. Instead, any excess you consume beyond your immediate needs gets stored primarily in your liver and fatty tissues. This capacity for storage means they can accumulate over time, potentially reaching levels that become toxic or cause adverse effects, especially with long-term, high-dose supplementation. This accumulation risk is precisely why understanding proper usage is critical. Let's examine vitamin A. We know it's essential for good vision, particularly in low light, a healthy immune system, and skin integrity. These roles are undisputed. However, the danger lies in excessive intake, a scenario that is surprisingly easy to fall into, particularly for older adults actively trying to support their health. How does this happen? Consider the common practice: many seniors might take a daily multivitamin, perhaps a separate bone health formula, which often contains vitamin A, and maybe even an immune support supplement during certain times of the year. Each of these products might contain vitamin A, often in the preformed state like retinol palmitate or retinol acetate. Without carefully adding up the amounts from all sources, it's incredibly easy to consistently consume far more than the recommended and safe upper limits, often without even realizing it. What are the consequences of this gradual accumulation? Because it's stored, vitamin A can build up potentially toxic concentrations. Research clearly indicates that chronic high intake of vitamin A cells, hypervitaminosis A, can have detrimental effects on your bones and muscles. It appears to interfere with vitamin D's function, can suppress bone-building cells, osteoblasts, and potentially stimulate cells that break down bone, osteoclasts. The direct result: a reduction in bone mineral density, making bones more brittle and significantly increasing the risk of fractures, especially hip fractures, which can be devastating for an older person's mobility and independence. This was highlighted in a significant review published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Furthermore, excess vitamin A can contribute to muscle aches, weakness, fatigue, and joint pain, all factors that directly compromise leg strength, stability, and your overall ability to move confidently. So, what's the safety threshold? The established tolerable upper intake level yield for adults for performed vitamin A is 3,000 micrograms mg of retinol activity equivalents, the rate, or 10,000 international units per day. And critically, this limit includes intake from all sources, supplements, fortified foods, and your regular diet combined. How can you navigate this safely? First and foremost, read the labels of every supplement you take. Add up the total amount of performed vitamin A. Be aware of the units used, Sigi, Ray, or Yo. Second, consider prioritizing beta-carotene, the form of vitamin A found in plants like carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and kale. Your body converts beta-carotene to active vitamin A only as needed, making it a much safer option with a significantly lower risk of toxicity compared to performed vitamin A from supplements. However, even very high-dose beta-carotene supplements should be approached with some caution. If you're taking multiple supplements, discussing your total vitamin A intake with your doctor or a knowledgeable pharmacist is a prudent step. Don't let a nutrient meant for health inadvertently undermine your bone and muscle strength. Now, let's discuss vitamin E. It enjoys a stellar reputation as a powerful antioxidant, protecting our cells from damage, and is often promoted for heart health and skin benefits. This is partly true. However, there's a crucial insight often missed. Improper use or excessive intake of vitamin E, especially from supplements, can paradoxically lead to problems, including a gradual decline in leg strength and overall vitality. One significant warning sign relates to the type of vitamin E. Many inexpensive supplements and multivitamins contain the synthetic form, labeled as diel-alpha tocopherol. Studies suggest the body metabolizes this synthetic form differently and less effectively than natural vitamin E. More concerningly, high doses of synthetic vitamin E have been linked in some research to muscle weakness, fatigue, and impaired neuromuscular function, particularly in older adults. But even natural forms of vitamin E like D-alpha tocopherol are not without risk when taken in excessive amounts. Remember, like vitamin A, vitamin E is fat-soluble and accumulates in the body. Chronically high levels can interfere with the vital function of vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting. This can lead to an increased risk of bleeding, especially dangerous if you are also taking blood-thinning medications. Furthermore, very high doses can potentially have adverse effects on muscle and nerve health, contributing again to muscle weakness and fatigue. Research, including large meta-analyses, has indicated that high-dose vitamin E supplementation, particularly at levels exceeding 400 IU per day, might not only fail to provide the promised benefits, but could potentially increase the risk of all-cause mortality and negatively impact muscle performance. So, what's the sensible approach? Balance and moderation are key. The recommended dietary allowance (ARDA) for adults is around 15 mg talos of alpha tocopherol per day, is equivalent to about 22.4 U of natural vitamin E. This total should ideally come primarily from food sources and includes the amounts from both diet and any supplements. How can you get vitamin E safely and effectively? Prioritize whole food sources. Excellent sources include nuts like almonds, hazelnuts, seeds like sunflower seeds, vegetable oils like sunflower, safflower oil, use in moderation, spinach, and broccoli. A diet rich in these foods likely provides sufficient vitamin E for most people. Furthermore, consider the broader family of vitamin E compounds, particularly the tocotrienols, found in sources like red palm oils, unrefined, rice bran oil, barley, and oats. Tocotrienols are emerging in research as potentially more potent antioxidants and neuroprotective agents than the more common tocopherols found in most supplements, possibly without the same risks at higher intakes. Focusing on food sources gives you a natural blend of these compounds. If you feel you must supplement, look for a low-dose product that provides a mixed blend of tocopherols and tocotrienols, rather than just high-dose isolated alpha-tocopherol S and steer clear of the synthetic dill alpha-tocopherol form. Keep the total intake from food and supplements well within safe limits. Don't let something intended to protect your cells inadvertently compromise your blood clotting or muscle function, ultimately affecting your ability to move freely and safely. In summary for this section, the fat-soluble nature of vitamins A and E means that excess intake, often unintentional from combining multiple supplements, poses a real risk of accumulation and potential harm to bone health, muscle function, and other vital systems. Vigilance in checking labels and prioritizing food sources is paramount. Now, let's shift our focus to a vitamin that, despite being water-soluble, holds perhaps the most direct and severe potential risk for your nerves and leg function when taken in the high doses commonly found on store shelves. We've discussed the potential pitfalls of fat-soluble vitamins A and E due to their tendency to accumulate. Now, we arrive at a vitamin that many people assume is entirely safe precisely because it's water-soluble vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine. The common belief is that if you take too much, your body simply excretes the excess in urine, making toxicity impossible. Unfortunately, while B6 is indeed water-soluble, this belief is a dangerous oversimplification, especially concerning the extremely high doses found in many supplements today. Among all the vitamins we're discussing, this particular one, when misused in high doses, arguably presents the most significant and direct risk to the nerves controlling your legs, potentially leading to debilitating consequences that many remain completely unaware of. Let me be perfectly clear: vitamin B6 itself is not harmful. In fact, it's absolutely essential. Your body requires it for countless critical functions, including protein metabolism, the creation of neurotransmitters that regulate mood and sleep, like serotonin and dopamine, red blood cell formation, immune function, and importantly, healthy nerve activity. You definitely need B6. The problem lies not with the vitamin itself, but with the sheer quantity people are consuming, particularly through supplements. The recommended daily intake for adults over 50 is quite modest, only around 1.5 to 1.7 milligrams μg per day. Now, walk into any health store or pharmacy and look at the labels of B-complex formulas, energy boosters, mood support supplements, or even standalone B6 products. You will routinely find dosages of 50 mg, 100 mg, 250 mg, or even 500 mg of B6 per single tablet or capsule. That's not just a little extra, that's thousands of % higher than what your body actually needs on a daily basis. Why such astronomical doses? It often stems from the flawed "more is better" mentality, combined with the incorrect assumption that water-soluble means harmless at any dose. But here's the critical reality: at these extremely high intake levels, your body's ability to process and excrete B6 can be overwhelmed. It can build up, and paradoxically, it can become toxic, specifically neurotoxic, meaning it damages nerve tissue. Research has consistently shown that prolonged consumption of high-dose vitamin B6, generally considered to be amounts exceeding 50 mg to 100 mg daily, though some individuals may be sensitive at lower doses and toxicity is more clearly established above 200 mg day, can lead to a serious condition called pyridoxine-induced peripheral neuropathy. What does this nerve damage feel like? It often starts insidiously, typically in the feet and lower legs, with symptoms like tingling, numbness, pins and needles sensation, burning feelings, or electric shock, like pains. You might feel like you're walking on cotton wool, or have difficulty sensing the position of your feet without looking. If the high intake continues and the condition progresses, it can lead to muscle weakness in the legs, poor coordination, ataxia, difficulty walking, unsteadiness, and an increased risk of falls. For an older adult, this translates directly into a diminished ability to stand confidently, climb stairs safely, or maintain mobility and independence. A study published in the journal Neurology explicitly linked long-term use of high-dose B6 supplements to the development of this sensory neuropathy, significantly impacting leg function. And perhaps the most concerning aspect, this nerve damage can be slow to reverse, and in some cases, symptoms may persist for months or even years after discontinuing the high-dose supplements, as nerve repair is a very slow process. How do people accidentally consume such high amounts? Often, it's by unknowingly stacking doses from multiple products, taking a multivitamin, plus a beet complex, plus perhaps a supplement for stress or sleep that also contains a hefty dose of B6, all under the mistaken assumption that it's perfectly safe because it's water-soluble. But for your nerves, and consequently your legs, it is decidedly not beneficial in these quantities. The safest approach: prioritize getting your B6 from food sources, where it's naturally present in appropriate amounts. Excellent sources include bananas, chickpeas, potatoes, eza with skin, salmon, tuna, chicken breast, turkey, and fortified cereals. Check labels for amounts. If supplementation is deemed necessary by a healthcare professional for a specific reason, the dosage should generally be kept low, perhaps in the range of 5 to 10 mg, maybe up to 20 mg per day, unless a higher amount is medically indicated for a specific condition and used under strict supervision for a limited time. Always scrutinize the labels of all supplements you are taking and calculate your total daily B6 intake. Now, closely related to B6 within the B vitamin family, there's another crucial caution involving vitamin B9s, known as folate in food or folic acid in supplements, and vitamin B12's cobalamin. These two often work together and are frequently included in B complex formulas. Both are vital for nerve health. However, there's a potential interaction that everyone, especially older adults, needs to be aware of. Taking high doses of folic acid, the synthetic form of B9 commonly found in supplements and fortified foods, can mask a deficiency in vitamin B12. Here's how. One of the classic signs of B12 deficiency is a type of anemia called megaloblastic anemia, where red blood cells become abnormally large. High intake of folic acid can actually correct this anemia, making the blood work look normal in that respect. But here's the danger: while the anemia might be fixed, the underlying neurological damage caused by the B12 deficiency continues unchecked. Vitamin B12 is absolutely critical for maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective covering around nerve fibers. A deficiency, if left untreated, leads to progressive and potentially irreversible nerve damage, causing symptoms very similar to B6 toxicity: tingling, numbness, weakness, balance problems, difficulty walking, but can also include cognitive issues like memory problems, confusion, and depression. Why is this particularly relevant for seniors? The body's ability to absorb vitamin B12 from food tends to decrease with age, partly due to reduced stomach acid production, which is needed to release B12 from food proteins, and potentially lower levels of intrinsic factor, substance required for B12 absorption in the gut. Furthermore, common medications used by older adults, such as metformin for diabetes or acid-reducing drugs, alike proton pump inhibitors or H2 blockers for heartburn or reflux, can significantly impair B12 absorption. Therefore, the crucial take-home message is, if you are supplementing with B9, especially folic acid at doses higher than what's found in a standard multivitamin, it is imperative to ensure you are also getting adequate vitamin B12s. Never supplement with high-dose folic acid alone without knowing your B12 status or supplementing B12 concurrently. For individuals over 60, or those taking medications known to interfere with B12 absorption, or those following vegetarian or vegan diets, it's often wise to consider supplementing with B12 directly. Opt for forms that are generally considered more readily absorbed and utilized by the body, such as methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin, rather than the more common but less active cyanocobalamin form. Regular screening for B12 deficiency, which might include testing levels of methylmalonic acid or homocysteine, as these can be more sensitive indicators than B12 levels alone, might also be advisable for those at higher risk. Protecting your nervous system is paramount for maintaining leg strength, balance, and overall mobility. Missteps with high-dose B6 or overlooking a potential B12 deficiency masked by folic acid can have profound negative consequences. Understanding these nuances is key to safe and effective supplementation. Having identified these 5 key vitamins, Ls and calcium, that can inadvertently undermine leg strength when misused, it's equally important now to shift our focus. We need to empower you with effective, natural strategies to actively maintain and even enhance your leg strength, enabling you to stay active and independent well into your later years. After all, it's not just about what you avoid, it's very much about what you proactively do. So far, we've navigated the potential hidden dangers associated with the improper use of common supplements like calcium, vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, and particularly the high doses of vitamin B6. Recognizing these risks is the crucial first step in protecting your health and mobility. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Now, we must shift our focus from simply avoiding harm to actively building resilience, to implementing effective, natural strategies that can truly help you maintain and even enhance your leg strength, ensuring you remain active, stable, and independent for as long as possible. This is about taking control and investing proactively in your future well-being. Think of these strategies as the fundamental pillars supporting strong, functional legs throughout the aging process. First and foremost, keep moving. You've likely heard the phrase, "Who's it or lose it," and when it comes to muscle strength and joint flexibility, it's undeniably true. Our bodies are designed for movement. Regular, gentle physical activity is essential for maintaining muscle tone, improving balance, which is critical for fall prevention, enhancing blood circulation to deliver nutrients to your tissues, and keeping joints lubricated. Conversely, inactivity rapidly leads to muscle atrophies, shrinking, and stiffness. You don't need to become a marathon runner. Consistent, light daily activity makes a world of difference. Consider incorporating simple things like daily walks. Aim for 20-30 minutes if possible, even broken into shorter sessions. Find a safe, enjoyable route. Gentle chair exercises, simple squats while holding onto a sturdy chair for support, calf raises rising onto your toes, leg lifts to the side or back. Stair climbing if safe and accessible. Using stairs instead of the elevator is excellent functional exercise. Balance practice, standing on one leg near a counter or wall for support, gradually increasing the time. Listen to your body, start slowly, and focus on consistency rather than intensity. Make movement a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Second, critically evaluate your diet, paying close attention to carbohydrates and protein. A diet high in refined carbohydrates, think white bread, pasta, sugary drinks, pastries, and heavily processed foods, leads to spikes in blood sugar and insulin. Over time, this promotes chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is a major enemy of muscle health, accelerating age-related muscle loss, sarcopenia, and contributing to weakness. As we age, our metabolism becomes more sensitive to these fluctuations. Reducing your intake of these refined carbs and sugars can significantly improve your strength and energy levels. Simultaneously, ensure you're getting adequate high-quality protein. Protein provides the building blocks needed to repair and maintain muscle tissue. Many older adults don't consume enough. Aim to include good protein sources in each meal: lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, tofu, Greek yogurt. Third, embrace sensible sunlight exposure. Often underestimated, safe and regular exposure to sunlight does more than just boost vitamin D synthesis naturally, which, as we've discussed, is crucial but needs balance. Sunlight also plays a vital role in regulating our circadian rhythms, improving mood through serotonin production, enhancing sleep quality, and supporting hormonal balance, all of which contribute to overall vitality and energy levels needed for maintaining strength. Just 15 to 30 minutes of sun exposure on your arms and legs a few times a week, preferably during morning or late afternoon hours when the sun is less intense, can make a significant difference. Combining this with some light physical activity outdoors offers double benefits. Fourth, do not underestimate the power of magnesium. We touched upon its critical role alongside vitamin D and K2, but its importance extends much further. Magnesium is involved in over 300 essential biochemical reactions, including muscle contraction and relaxation, nerve signal transmission, energy production at the cellular level (ATP), and blood sugar control. Unfortunately, dietary intake is often insufficient, and absorption can decrease with age. Many older adults are unknowingly deficient, contributing to symptoms like muscle cramps, weakness, fatigue, and poor sleep. Actively increase your intake of magnesium-rich foods: pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, cashews, black beans, edamame, and dark chocolate in moderation. If considering a supplement due to insufficient dietary intake or specific needs, look for forms known for better absorption and gentler effects on the digestive system, such as magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate. Start with a low dose and consult your healthcare provider. Fifth, remember the fundamentals. Ensure you are staying properly hydrated throughout the day, as water is essential for muscle function and joint health. Prioritize quality sleep, typically 7-8 hours per night, as this is when your body performs crucial repair and recovery processes, including muscle regeneration. These basic elements are frequently overlooked, yet they form the bedrock upon which muscle strength and mobility are maintained throughout life. Finally, let's revisit the approach to supplementation with a discerning mindset. Supplements can have a place, but they should supplement a healthy lifestyle, not replace it. Be aware of potential interactions between different supplements and any medications you're taking. Honestly assess whether you truly need a particular supplement, perhaps based on specific symptoms or blood tests discussed with your doctor. Always prioritize obtaining nutrients from whole foods first. Remember the principle of less is more. Sometimes taking fewer supplements, but the right ones at the right dose, is far more beneficial than taking a multitude of products without a clear understanding or need. Build your body's health from the foundation up using these natural strategies. Your legs are your connection to the world, your agents of freedom and independence. Caring for them wisely is not just about preventing problems, it's about actively nurturing your ability to live life fully. Take these strategies to heart, implement them consistently, and empower yourself to walk tall and strong for years to come. If you found this information valuable, please consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with friends or family members who might benefit, and subscribing to the channel. Your support allows us to continue creating insightful content like this. Thank you for your time and attention. Stay well and stay active.